Businessman, entrepreneur, mayor, and philanthropist, Michael Bloomberg thinks big, and he has an extraordinary range of accomplishments. The son of a bookkeeper, he was born in Boston and raised in Medford, where he, as a boy, demonstrated a quality that would serve him well in life. His mother called it stick-to-itness. As Mrs. Bloomberg said years later, if he liked it, he worked really hard at it, but he had to find something he wanted to do. He earned his undergraduate degree at Johns Hopkins University, where, according to Mayor Bloomberg, I had a good time. I burned the candle at both ends. But he also worked hard, paying his way through school, taking out loans, and working as a parking lot attendant, and putting in serious hours in the lab to get his degree in engineering. After Johns Hopkins, he attended Harvard Business School, where he earned his MBA. He told me earlier he simply didn't know about Stanford. In 1966, he moved to New York City, where he took a job with Salomon Brothers. He rose quickly through the ranks until he was overseeing the trading firm's information systems. In 1981, after Salomon Brothers was acquired by another company, he left to start his own company. He realized that information could be used more effectively by trading firms, and Bloomberg LP offered a host of tools and information critical for making good financial and business decisions. Today, with more than 13,000 employees and more than 300,000 subscribers, the company is recognized worldwide as both the pioneer and the leader in financial news and information. As a young boy, Mike Bloomberg learned the importance of public service and giving back from his parents. And as his company became more successful, he became more involved in philanthropy and civic affairs. In 2001, he ran for public office, and in 2002 became the 108th mayor of New York City. This year, he concludes his third term. Over the past 12 years, he has been the city's champion. Through innovative programs that nurture entrepreneurship and develop new job skills, he has worked to diversify its economy by revitalizing well-established industries and encouraging new ones. Under his watch, New York rode through the economic downturn and avoided many of the terrible job losses that cities often experienced. He has been a fierce and passionate champion for New York City. As he said on one occasion, no place epitomizes the American experience and the American spirit more than New York City. As a native New Yorker myself, descended from Irish immigrants who came to New York City in the 1800s as laborers, I couldn't agree more. The mayor has also championed school reform, aiming to ensure that every child in New York City has an equitable and high-quality public education. One of the things I most admire about Mayor Bloomberg is his willingness to take a stand, especially on issues that may seem divisive. As he said, every one of my positions cuts our country right in half. I'm pro-choice. I'm pro-gay rights. I'm pro-immigration. I'm against guns. And I believe in Darwin. Increasingly, he has dedicated himself to improving society through his philanthropic efforts. In 2001, the Chronicle of Philanthropy placed him in the top 5 of its list of 50 most generous philanthropists in the country. And he has supported a wide variety of causes, including arts, education, the environment, government innovation, and public health. Throughout his life and career, Michael Bloomberg has demonstrated a willingness to think differently. He has tackled difficult issues and searched for innovative ways to address them. This is very much in the Stanford spirit, and we're pleased to have him here today. Please join me in warmly welcoming this year's commencement speaker, Michael Bloomberg.
Well, thank you, President Hennessy, and good morning, graduates, faculty members, families, friends. It really is an honor to be here at Stanford's 122nd commencement. But really, I came to try to get Stephan Taylor's autograph. Now, I don't think there's any question that the class of 2013, as Dean Julie used to say, is the greatest class in the history of Stanford. Of course, you should know she said that about every other class. Let me start by offering my congratulations to a very special group, all the parents who helped get you here to this moment, and a happy Father's Day to all the dads who are bursting with pride right now and hoping you're not moving back into your old bedroom. But today, it's really about you, the graduates, and as I look out on your bright and beaming faces, some of you still feeling last night at Rudy's or Illusions. Some of you dressed like Harry Potter or the Wizard of Oz. And okay, yes, I did see the guy dressed up as the Big Gulp. Very funny. But I can hardly believe that I, Michael Bloomberg, am part of this class. And for me to have gotten to this day without having to take I-hum like you undergraduates, and without having done a beer column at Old Pro, I really feel very lucky. To be honest, I'm also a little jealous. Look at the amazing place you've gotten to enjoy while you received a first-rate education. You've had perfect weather, although I know everyone puts on a down jacket whenever it falls below 70. You've had inspiring surroundings, sunrise over the Dish, starlight over Lake Log, charming buildings. Is there really a house called the Enchanted Broccoli Forest? You've had legendary fountains. President Hennessy has promised to go fountain hopping with me later. And of course, you've had full moon on the quad. Did anyone here play full moon bingo? Parents, don't ask. Trust me. Stanford actually is such a special place, you even speak your secret language here. Coho, Flomo, Froyo. As the Beatles would say, I don't know. Now, we don't have those words in New York City, but then again, we don't have a national champion women's tennis team or a Rose Bowl winning football team, or in the case of the New York Jets, even a winning football team. But hey, what can you expect? The Jets quarterback went to USC. Even though Stanford and New York City are very different, I have to say I feel right at home here, because Leland Stanford, in addition to being an entrepreneur, an elected official, a philanthropist, and a great supporter of higher education, was originally a New Yorker. And 125 years ago, in 1888, he asked another longtime New Yorker, Frederick Law Olmsted, who designed our Central Park, to design this campus. And it is a stunningly beautiful campus, as everyone knows, a place where, as the Stanford motto says, the wind of freedom blows. Since all of you graduates first set foot on the main quad, you've been free to study your interests, change others' ideas, explore new discoveries, develop new passions, make mistakes, even date mistakes. Although I've been told that dating here is sort of like paying parking tickets. Almost nobody does it. The wind of freedom has always blown strongly here at Stanford, and thanks to graduates and faculty, the wind has helped everyone in our country go forward into this new millennium. In fact, I think it's fair to say that no other university in the world has so profoundly shaped our modern age. Without Stanford, there's no Silicon Valley. And without Silicon Valley, there's no tech revolution, no information revolution, no communications revolution, at least not as we know it. Stanford's incubation of Silicon Valley is fitting because Leland Stanford himself was a pioneer. He followed the gold rush to California, just as many enterprising young people are moving here and to New York City to be part of the tech boom. Now, we had hoped that Stanford itself might help lead our tech boom in New York City, but that didn't work out. No hard feelings. But I do think in the end it will, because I believe that more and more Stanford graduates will find themselves moving to Silicon Alley, not only because we're the hottest new tech scene in the country, but also because there's more to do on a Friday night than go to the Pizza Hut in Sunnyvale. And in New York, you may even be able to find a date with a girl whose name is not Siri. Stanford graduates thrive in New York City because both places thrive on innovation and entrepreneurship. If companies founded by Stanford alumni were to form an independent nation, it would be the 10th largest economy in the world. And apparently, every single person here has a great idea for a new startup. I've been here for 2 days, and so far 27 students, 14 professors, and the checkout guy at Axon Palm have approached me about VC funding. But I'm not surprised, because Stanford is more than a world-class university. It's part of a community that attracts people who are trying to discover and shape the future. And all of you have been part of that community, whether you studied physics or philosophy or film. And today, as you set off on a new journey, you will carry the spirit of this community with you. And as you leave this campus behind, you leave with the wind of freedom at your back and a world of possibilities at your feet. That, graduates, is the essence of the American dream. To feel that wind of freedom, to know that world of possibility. It's the dream that brought my ancestors here, and yours. It's a dream that millions of Americans have fought and died to protect. And it's the dream of billions of people around the world that they carry in their hearts. And today I'd like to spend just a few minutes talking about that dream and what I hope you graduates will do with it. At its most basic level, the American dream is simply the idea that anyone from any background, of any means, can achieve anything through ability and hard work. It is a dream about an opportunity, not an outcome. Those who think they are owed something just because of who they are, or who their parents are, or because of their gender, their orientation, their ethnicity, or religion are badly mistaken. And so are those who think the American dream is about getting rich quick or getting their tech startup for billions of dollars. Most people who dream of dollar signs never quite get rich enough, while those who do what they love often find more riches than they ever had imagined possible. That has been certainly true in my case. I was an electrical engineering major in college who somehow ended up working in finance. I started as a clerk on Wall Street, working my way up to partner, and loved every minute of it, right until the day I was fired. But seriously, getting fired was one of the best things that ever happened to me. I had tried to convince the firm that developing new technology to deliver financial information system faster and more effectively was in our interest. But companies, governments, unions, and schools, you'll find, tend not to like disruption to their business models. And that's exactly why new technology is so important. Technological disruption drives innovation. And the more disruption there is, the better markets perform, and the harder it is for monopolies to survive. The idea that you can find ways to do something better, faster, and cheaper has driven American innovation for centuries. And the freedom to pursue those innovations is part of the American dream. When I was fired, I did what many young people are doing right now in Silicon Valley in New York City. I started my own technology company. That was back in 1981, at the dawn of the computer age. And I can assure you that back then, no one called us a startup or a tech company. They just called me crazy. And I will admit, there may be nothing more frightening than starting a company based on an untested technology, with the possible exception of becoming a parent, or maybe riding your bike around the circle of death, I don't know. But I had a dream that I believed in, and thankfully I had the courage to follow it. There will be many times in your life when you have to decide whether to play it safe or follow a dream. Most people play it safe because it's easier, and the older you get, the easier it becomes. But if you won't risk failure, you won't fulfill your potential. And the opportunity to fulfill your potential lies at the heart of the American dream. You've got that opportunity. It's the most valuable thing you'll own in your life. My advice to you is don't waste it. Don't let complacency eat away at it, and don't walk away from the things that don't go your way. If you don't encounter setbacks in your career, if you don't have doubts and disappointments, let me tell you, you're not dreaming big enough. It's like saying you never fall when you ski. Get over it. Go try a double black diamond and stop with the baby slopes. Now, for those of you who don't know what dream you want to pursue, don't worry, you will. And for those of you who think that you've got it all figured out, let me tell you, you don't and you can't. If somebody had told me on my college graduation day that I would end up working on Wall Street, starting a computer company, becoming mayor of New York, and a philanthropist, I would never have believed it. And I can assure you that my professors wouldn't have believed it. For the record, I was always the kind of student who made the top half of the class possible. So don't worry about the future too much. Whatever you find yourself doing next, work harder at it, work harder than everyone else. And if you do, you'll find opportunities you didn't know existed. In my life, I've always given the toughest job to the busiest person on my staff because they've earned the right to do it. The reward for great work is more work, but that's where the opportunities to grow and to succeed are. And if you love what you do, you'll want to be the first one in the office in the morning and the last one out at night, even if you're working for yourself. A friend of mine the other day told me a story about his son, a college graduate who'd moved back home after graduation and is starting a tech company in their house. Every morning he wakes up, showers, and puts on a suit and tie because he says he wants to start his day with the mindset of, I'm going to succeed. And the fact of the matter is that's just harder to do when you're in your pajamas trying to pat down your bedhead. True, many of you are going to work at companies where, if you wear a suit, you'll feel like your grandparents at Daft Punk concerts. But just wait until your second or third job. Hello, Brooks Brothers. Regardless of whether you wear a suit or a shirt or a hoodie, roll up your sleeves every day and get down to work. Work hard, take risks, follow your passion, embrace innovation. The secret of success isn't much of a secret. It's just that many people look for an easier way, a shortcut to be found, because they mistakenly think of the American dream as a destination to be reached. Let me tell you, the American dream has no shortcuts and no endpoint. It is the freedom you have to chart your own journey and through hard work to find professional success and personal fulfillment. It is up to you to embrace that opportunity for yourself and to extend that opportunity to others who, right now, are being denied it. Now, some of you may know about this firsthand. About 30% of you graduates here are on student visas. If those in Washington had any sense at all, they would be begging you to stay here in the United States. But instead, our immigration laws may force some of you to leave in the months and years ahead. Just think about what that means. We invite foreign students to study here. We subsidize the universities they attend with research funding and other aid. And then after those students have mastered the material, we tell them to go elsewhere and work for one of our competitors. It is the most backward economic policy you could possibly come up with, and I've called it national suicide, because we are destroying our future by turning our backs on history, and we've just got to stop it. Every STEM student graduating here today should have a green card stapled to his or her diploma so that they can help our economy grow. Every child brought to this country illegally should have the opportunity to apply for financial aid and go to college because they have done nothing wrong. Every entrepreneur who wants to come here and start a business and create jobs in this country should have the chance to do so. They are the future leaders of major corporations that will employ millions of Americans. And every business with job openings that can't be filled should be able to hire an immigrant who wants to work hard. American immigrants built the world's most innovative economy, and it is up to them to keep it growing. And if we're going to keep the American dream alive, we need those in Washington to fix this broken system and fix it right now. Now, a few years ago, I helped form a coalition of mayors and business leaders called the Partnership for a New American Economy to press for immigration reform. I'm glad to report that we finally do seem to be getting real traction in Washington, and our coalition continues to grow. Many university presidents, including President Hennessy, have spoken out on this issue, and the tech community here and in New York City have been very vocal. And that includes Stanford alum Reid Hoffman, and also Mark Zuckerberg, who dropped out of a university often called the Stanford of the East. They and other tech leaders are pushing forward for immigration reform through a group they've formed called Forward. And we now have a real chance at passing comprehensive, sensible immigration reform this year, and I hope you will make your voices heard as well. Pick up the phone and call your congressman and call your senator and say, we want it and we want it now, or I'm not going to vote for you. If we are going to win the future, we've got to keep the future here by allowing more immigrants to come here and pursue the American dream. At the same time, it's not just our immigration laws that are denying too many people a chance at the American dream. This month, the Supreme Court will rule on two cases involving same-sex marriage: the Federal Defense of Marriage Act, which denies recognition of same-sex marriages, and California's Proposition 8, which prohibits same-sex marriage. In the whole history of the United States, no law limiting the rights of a particular class of people has ever stood the test of time, and neither will these. And I'm glad to see that two Stanford professors have testified and filed briefs opposing Proposition 8. Two professors at the law school, Pamela Karlan and Jeffrey Fisher, are the lead attorneys in the Defense of Marriage Act case. And I'm happy to say they are representing a woman named Edith Windsor, who is a New York City resident. And that's only fitting because our city was the birthplace of the gay rights movement, and I'm proud to say that New York State has passed marriage equality back in 2011. Now, no matter how the Supreme Court rules in these two cases, there is no doubt in my mind that both laws will soon be history. It is not a question of if, only a question of when. The advance of American freedom and equality can be slowed, but it can never be stopped. Every generation of Americans has expanded the rights of full citizenship to an ever-widening circle of people, and I have every confidence that your generation will do the same. Marriage equality is the civil rights issue of our time, and I believe that it will become the law of the land in all 50 states. If not in my lifetime, then certainly in yours. Stanford has a strong connection to the civil rights movement, including the Martin Luther King Research and Education Institute. And this year marks the 50th anniversary of two of Dr. King's most important works. In June 1963, his Letter from a Birmingham Jail was first published in various outlets after the New York Times declined to run it. Remember that the next time you don't get your letter to the editor published. Later that summer, on the Washington Mall, Dr. King delivered what may be the most inspiring speech the world has ever heard. In both, he reminded us that the American dream is not only an individual ambition that lies within all of us, it is a national aspiration that calls us to honor our nation's highest ideals. Those two elements of the American dream have been present since our conception. We are a country founded on truths that were self-evident, but not self-fulfilling. That all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, among those life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. All of American history can be understood as the struggle to live up to those ideals. Today, that struggle continues, and it's now your turn to lead it. When Dr. King visited Stanford in 1964, he told students here, quote, "Human progress never merely rolls in on the wheels of inevitability. There's always a right time to do it, and that time is now," unquote. That time is now, graduates. So tonight, one last beer at Illusions, and tomorrow, with the wind of freedom at your back, go out and pursue your American dream and help make it a reality for others. Congratulations and best of luck.